Okay, so I've had a few people ask me questions about how I would get started as a beginner gardener. A lot of people are renting, so need pots and containers, things like that, so that they can move with them, like, take them with them when they leave, and also so that they don't get in trouble for redesigning the the landlord's garden. The pots I like to get are the 50-litre pots, or a grow bag. Now, the 50-litre pots are approximately 50 centimetres wide. I think they're 49 on the internal. And I'm just going to come up here and show you out there. Those pots. They don't have anything in them yet. They're going to have flowers. But those pots I do like for growing in. Filling them with garden soil and potting mix, but checking that the pH, so the things that you would buy is the pot, the saucer, 2 25-litre bags or 1 50-litre bag of garden soil or potting mix. Potting mix is lighter and fluffier, has more bark in it, so that it doesn't compact too much into the pot. If you're growing annuals, it's probably not going to be too much of an issue. I prefer garden soil just because the pH tends to be lower when you buy it in bags. You're also going to want a pH testing kit. Oops. There we go. Not these ones. Don't waste money on electrical. There we go. So I get this one. I've had one packet of this for over 10 years at least. It's probably closer to 15, almost 20 years old. The indicator dye, I'm probably like just under half that I have. I've had to get replacements of this. But I just use corn flour. And yeah, I test my pH quite regularly, just a small section, but definitely testing the pH of what you buy in terms of garden soil or potting mix, because it will be different depending which batch you get, which brand you get, what type you get. So if you're doing it in a container. I have grow bags that are about 60 centimetres wide. So you can just see there, you got your 50 centimetre pot or your 49 centimetre pot. Let's just make that, there we go. Yep. Versus the 250 litre or 200 litre squat grow bag. Now, both work out to be about the same price. The grow bags you have to order online if you're in my area, just because our local gardening centres and that don't stock them for the ones that I get. So I say to most people, like, if you're renting, pots or grow bags. If you're not renting, you can go straight into the soil, and just say you've got a 1 by 2 metre garden bed. So you can do much more in this space than in the pots. When starting out new gardens, I always encourage people to, one, grow the things they like, but also grow the things that are easy. Oh, and I should mention, I'm just using the Grow Veg planner that is through Self-Sufficient Me. Mark has up on his website the link to the Grow Veg Garden Planner app. And if you use it via his website, it has all of his videos there as well. But I've been using this app for, I think, six years now. It's come a long way in that time, always adding new plants, new things you can do with it. I've just started using the journal as well. It is a subscription fee, so a yearly subscription. I think you get 30 days free and then you pay a yearly subscription. So it is not a free software, but in my opinion, I have found great value for the money I spend in this, as it enables me to like get my thoughts down onto paper and have a plan when I go to the garden. So for new garden, we got for our area in Brisbane, I recommend cherry tomatoes. They grow all year. They tend to be more resilient. They are resistant to fruit fly attack, though you do get like a little green shield bug, like a stinging bug that does attack them, particularly through summer. But the cherry tomatoes, pretty easy to grow, and they kind of just self-seed by themselves, and then you end up with so many and you just got to weed them. And once you've had one, you kind of never need one again. So if you're going to, I recommend for new gardeners that you get a seedling from your local plant supplier. Cherry tomato, whatever variety you want. I like Tommy Toe just because it's a prolific producer, easy to grow in our climate, and it just seems to keep giving. I had 6 plants once and I ended up getting 8 kilos of cherry tomatoes a week, and it was too many. So I just stick to 1, maybe 2 in the garden for our household, which we've got 2 adults and a child, and the 2 neighbours, and my mum and my grandma. So we got a few people that we share food with. So I always recommend at least 1 cherry tomato. And as you can see, this app is good because it shows the root zone of the plant. So as you can see, it just fits in your 50-litre pot, or it fits really nicely inside the grow bag and also really nicely in the garden. So we're just going to pretend we've got a 50-litre pot. So if you've got a 50-litre pot, and then if you've got a grow bag, a garden. All right, so I'd put it like close by where I could, like if this is the back of my garden here and this is the front, I'd put this on the south side of the garden, so that, because the sun for us in Brisbane comes from the north, I would have it on the south side of the garden because it's going to grow taller than most things because it's a vining plant. I then recommend people grab some loose leaf lettuce. So that's things like the cos, the salad bowl lettuce, oak leaf, Lolo Russo, just, a loose leaf lettuce. It's different from a hearting lettuce. A hearting lettuce like iceberg, they need colder weather to create that heart in the middle. Whereas a loose leaf lettuce, you just pick off the outside leaves, 2 to 6 leaves per plant, per like 5 to 10 days. Once the plant's got like more than 13 leaves on it, you always want to keep at least 7 to 13 leaves on the plant at a time, so it has enough leaves so that it can keep growing. So most punnets, what's that, 6? Most punnets come with 6 lettuce in them. Sometimes there's extra, but if you get a punnet of 6 cells, you can quite easily fit in your pot the 6 lettuces around the outside of your tomato. I should mention, in a pot, you probably want to do a little tomato tower thing, or like have something that the tomato can climb up on. I like to set my pots like apart and put an archway that goes between them. So I like to do that so the tomato can climb up over the arch. But cherry tomato, lettuces around it. We're just going to do 6. And in the garden, if you've got a square meter, I would just sort of scatter the lettuces around the edge, because you will be picking these more often than not. And actually, to be fair, I probably would put them all on the north side of the garden because they're quite short and they're going to need the sun. Oh, wrong section. I need to go to the plant section and get radishes up. So I also encourage, if people enjoy eating radishes, you get some radish seeds. They are very easy to grow from seed. This app gives you either a single radish or a multi-sown radish. That's where you put like 3 to 5 seeds in the same spot. I just find like chucking a few seeds in the same spot's nice and easy. But for a pot, I prefer single sown. Radishes grow pretty quickly. I like cherry bell as a variety. And also, if you've got a north side of the pot versus a south side of the pot, you're going to want your radishes more on your north. Same for your garden. So what I would do is I'd plant a couple in 1 month, and then in the next month, what I would do then is plant a few more. Another thing I love about this app is if I go into the plant and double click, so we've got cherry bell, and I'm going to do in ground. They're usually about 8 weeks. So I can say that cluster's sown in July, maybe 2 of them in July, and they'll go to August. And then I'd have like August to October for 2 more. And then by the time I get back here, I can replant back here because these will be gone. In the pot, you don't have as much luxury unless you've got multiple pots. And then what I love to encourage new growers to do is when they're at Woolies and they've got their spring onions, chop the root of the plant off and pop it in your pot. So I've got 4 little ones in there. You could probably fit a few more, but as you can see, this pot is getting quite crowded in terms of the root system. So yeah, I usually put, I think I usually put about 6 in a 50-litre pot. Usually I just interspace them between the lettuces around the stem of that tomato. Whenever that tomato is going to grow up and climb over something. So then you've got your spring onions, your lettuce, your radishes. If you're in a 1 by 2 metre garden, I like to pop them in the row just behind the lettuces. So lettuces at the front, radishes at the front, spring onions in the next row behind. And you can plant them pretty close together. As you can see, we've still got so much space just in 1 by 2 metres. And in one pot, we've probably filled this pot with as much as we can. But as you can see, we've got tomato, lettuce, radish, and spring onion. It's a salad. You got yourself a salad. Very simple salad. It's probably going to set you back like $50 to $80, depending how you're purchasing things. If you've already got a pot, it's going to save you about $19 there. You know, so pretty easy to get a simple salad going in a pot. You do want to protect the base of the pot. So as you can see, oops, let's zoom. As you can see, like it's a black pot. It's going to absorb a lot of sun. That root system is going to get very hot and it's going to reduce the growth of the plants. So if you've got a piece of cloth or some hessian or some cardboard that you can use to block the sun from hitting the pot, great. Use that. Don't let the sun hit the plastic. It'll get too hot, particularly on that north side. In winter, it's not too bad, but it still gets hotter than what you want if you're using a plastic pot. I prefer plastic because it retains the water more than a terracotta pot. If it's a glazed terracotta, that's different. It does retain the water, but they're very expensive. And yet for our garden, obviously we've still got heaps more space that we can put in a garden. And if you've got more than one pot, I like to then get a capsicum. Capsicum, nice and easy to grow. In summer, in spring to autumn, you will want to put little fruit fly protection bags around your capsicum. The fruit fly are going to sting these, and the maggots will go in and eat your capsicum on you. Brisbane is just it is pest season from August until June. We get a 6 to 8 week reprieve from fruit fly, where we have cabbage moth instead, but we do get a reprieve. And I would put my capsicum there, and if it's in a pot. And one good thing about this app is if I go in here and I open this companion plant up, I can see what is going to benefit my capsicum, and then I can go in. It's got that benefiting there and notes, and as you can see, fruit fly, pest to capsicum. And yes, sealing it in a plastic bag and in the sun is really good. Or I feed them to my chooks, and the fruit fly don't seem to survive passing through a chicken's digestive system, and the chickens love the protein from the maggots. That's what I do with them. So we've got capsicum there. As you can see, it says leeks, chives, and broad beans. So if I was to get some chives, I could choose either regular chives or garlic chives. I'm just going to choose regular, and I'd probably put 2 in there, and let me just get one for over here. I put them right at the front, and I would space them out so I got some little clumps of chives. Chives are really nice adding to salads or to other dishes as a fresh garnish. Gives you a little bit of that chivy onion, green onion flavor. Really nice. One other thing I do like including in my, where are they? There we go. You could include a broad bean if you want. I just use regular beans. I just use either climbing beans, there you go, climbing beans or dwarf beans. If I've already got my archway popped up, I might pop in 2 climbing beans so it can climb over the archway and meet this tomato. I will also the following month put lettuce and radish around this capsicum as well to take over from these radishes, and will come out, and these lettuces will eventually come out. So I put that around, and as you can see, we're starting to fill up the garden. For our 1 meter garden, if you can access the south side of the garden and you can get in behind, and you put some mesh or some netting up that the beans can climb around, pop it around the back, because if you can harvest it, great. If you can't get round the back, keep them on the side and put the climbing frames on the side or in the corner where you can reach. Same with the cherry tomato, give it something to climb on, but doesn't have to be. And then I like to add peas in winter, the winter months. Sounds like my toddler's home. Peas in the winter months, they don't like our summer. They get so much powdery mildew. They don't like the heat. They don't produce. March to about October. I plant in March, April, May, and June. Sometimes I plant into July if we're having a really late winter, but I don't plant them any later than July because it takes them 12 weeks to produce, and they just, by the time October comes, they're not producing any pods. But beans do pretty well all year. They don't like winter very much, so that's like June to July. After that, they're pretty okay. But that is a very simple start to a basic garden, and what I encourage most of my new gardeners that I come in contact with. This is sort of how I encourage them to start out and get their green thumb into gardening. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments, and I will do a little bit more in-depth video later.